Guess who's back in the house? Here's click clack in the bow. Fine fresh feminine. I can never remember the rest of that. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day. I am so excited that we've reached the last supper of Dragula. It's episode 9, and I watched it actually yesterday, and I didn't have a time to upload my commentary. So I am creating the video now. And so I'm so excited to discuss this and hear what you guys have to say. And so the Boulet brothers are giving chances to the eliminated queens to talk about any secrets or lives that they have taken to the grave during their exterminations. And so, first, we hear from Violencia. And Violencia stated that she's afraid of flying and afraid of planes. So, the first extermination were her and, oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank of her name? Maxi had to jump out of a plane. She chickened out and did not complete the extermination. Therefore, she was disqualified. And so the Boulet brothers asked her, does she regret that? And she stated that if she could do it again, she would have jumped out of the plane, and she will have to live with that regret until the day she dies. And so that statement hit me really hard because we rarely get opportunities to create a second impression or to get a redo. And so every time you encounter a challenge or a problem or something that makes you feel uncomfortable, you have to remind yourself that this challenge, this obstacle, is only going to get you to where you want to be. And so I hope that all of you apply that to your life because I'm definitely going to apply it to my life. A lot of, like, as a writer, I often, my time writing has to compete with my time working my full time job, my time hanging out with my friends, my time kind of like researching projects that I want to work on. But I have to realize the time is now. And so I sometimes make up an excuses to not write, but I have to remember kind of like um, keep going. Don't be afraid. Um, and so I really liked hearing that to kind of like remind me to keep going, keep writing. And the Boulet brothers then went to Maxi and asked Maxi like how she felt during the extermination. And Maxi actually said like I have a fear of planes, and so she didn't want to do it, but she forced herself to do it. And that was good hearing that. Um, and I actually, side note, Maxi's look was everything. Maxi, I've noticed, really pays attention to detail. And I actually would be curious to see Maxi kind of like perform more in kind of like the burlesque world and not necessarily the drag world, just to see if there's a difference in presentation. Because Maxi had kind of like the same um, blue paint that she does, but her ensemble, there was so much attention to detail. She had like this beautiful like hat. It was almost like a pillbox hat with this really cool floral sequin design and kind of like a similar sequin pattern design on this black gown. So I really like that. Then they spoke to St. Lucia, and I believe it was I can't remember which one of the Boulet brothers asked, but they felt that because of St. Lucia's inexperience, that she kind of like disappeared in the competition, and that this particular season, everyone really kind of like had elevated drag. And so they were kind of like asking St. Lucia, kind of like what happened. And I don't know how old St. Lucia is or how long she's been doing drag, but St. Lucia stated that, she was inexperienced, and that in a kind of like in a different group of people, she might have went further in the competition. Um, I really wanted to see more from St. Lucia. Like, I feel like I get a better picture of her online, or maybe when she's online, because like she has posted post Dragula, she's posted some great looks. So I was kind of let down. Not that she looked good, but I wanted to see her take her game to the next level. And she seems really reserved, um, really standoffish. After they kind of like moved on to other queens, she never chimed back in into any of the conversations that were had. And so I really wanted her to kind of like shine. Unfortunately, she didn't. But she did look good though. I really liked her look overall. Then they went to Yovska, and um, I loved Yovska's look, and she was true to Yovska. Um, but Yovska brought up this really cool point, um, that she thought that she had an advantage over the other queens in the competition because of how different her drag is. Like, she's this kind of like goblin realness, um, character that always has a mask. But after kind of like each episode, she felt as if what the Boulet brothers wanted was her to take off the mask and start wearing wigs, and that she had to remove some of Yovska and put on more of their idea of what drag is. And so, and kind of like we talked about this, I think on episode 3, in order to win a drag competition, should you have to conform to the judge's idea of what drag is, or can you win with your own aesthetic or idea of how you should present yourself to the judges? And so I think kind of like looking at kind of like all drag competitions, because now kind of like we have Drag Race, we have Dragula, we have Camp Wanakiki, and I think kind of like looking at people who have won kind of like all of those previous seasons from the different shows, that the queens who win are always able to really listen to the judge's critique, but also reflect who they are through their own lens of their characters. So that's really important. And so we get to Eva. And so online, a lot of people said that Eva was really boring. Um, she was boring to watch on the show. some people thought that Eva was being pushed along through the competition by the Boulet brothers because they wanted her to win. And Eva kind of like brought up her childhood. There was a point where her family put her into a troubled youth home. And I'm still kind of like curious about this youth setting that she was placed in. But she felt that her childhood was robbed because of this experience. And it really shaped her, I guess, young adulthood, because I think she was either 16 or 17 when she was placed in this home. And so she was really shattered um, and depressed after the situation, and it was drag that saved her. And I think because so many people knew of Eva because of her viral videos before the show, that they had this higher expectation of her. And so I think it's important to separate the artist or the drag character from the person who they are when they wake up. Those are two different people, and I feel that it's often kind of like drag that really helps certain people find who they are. And so unfortunately Eva wasn't this kind of like very loud in your face character. But if she did that, that wouldn't be herself. Did she play the reality TV show game? Probably not the way that people wanted her to, but I think she was authentic. And at the end of the day, she will even continue to go further in the drag world because of who she is as a performer. But do you on I have a question for you guys. Do you think that it's necessary to be kind of like this loud, in your face, obnoxious character to win on a reality show, or to win kind of like fan favorite on a reality show? I'm curious about that because I mean, kind of like in reality TV world, I feel like the loudest voices in the room are the people that are remembered the most. But it isn't always that way, and so I'm just curious. I don't actually watch a lot of reality TV shows. I The only reality TV shows that I really watch are drag shows. So just let me know your thoughts. And then we get to Hallow Eve, probably one of the most controversial characters on this season. And so, um, one of the very first questions that the Boulet brothers ask are about what is her, I think, her fondest memory on the show. And she responds that making her feminine hygiene outfit was her fondest memory of the show. Um, and she thought it was her best look. And Hollow actually had some of the strongest looks from the season. And I was surprised that she said that because I would say that either her vampire look or the her like horned look when she had the red hair, those two were probably her top looks from the season. Um, and one thing that I loved about Hollow, is that she said that she has a lot of fears and that she makes it a point to challenge those fears because, and this is a quote from her, when you challenge your fears, you unlock every cage that you've been put into. And I love that statement um, because she sees fear as a cage. And when you challenge the fear, you free yourself. And so I really am going to challenge myself to face a lot of my fears. Um, One fear that I have is not being able to kind of like support myself and pay my rent. And so I have a lot of projects that I want to work on, but I have this kind of like debilitating fear about, okay, do I go forward with this project or not be able to pay rent? Like as some of you know, I worked on a documentary. Um, First started filming it about 2 years ago, and the co-director just disappeared on me. And I've worked with like three editors after the fact to finalize the project, and they have also disappeared. And so I've spent a lot of money on this project, and I actually want to submit it to a few film festivals. Um, but it's like I don't want to pay another person to work on this project. And so I'm always faced with kind of like, what do I do? What do I do? And so I'm going to challenge myself to reach out to another person to work on this project, because I think it's important to get it out to the world, so the world can kind of like see it and experience it, because it is a great project. And so I hope to give you some really cool updates soon about that project. And also, what I do respect about Hallow is that they brought up the conversation about her um, really being controversial, and the conversations that she would bring up, especially the one regarding the word fish with Priscilla Chambers. And Hallow stated that kind of like, I think about those conversations and if I could have worded them differently. And um, she says that kind of like, I wish I would have worded them differently, because when I made those comments, there wasn't a debate or conversation because people just got quiet. So, had I worded it differently, there would have been a debate, and people probably could have actually come out of that conversation thinking differently about using the word fish, or about feminine hygiene products and how they're marketed towards women and how society sees those things. And so I really appreciated her coming to that point. And there was a beautiful moment between Dollya and Priscilla. Priscilla, I believe in the very last episode, stated that she apologized to Dollya because in the episode before that, she accused Dollya of having an unfair advantage because her mother, her drag mother, was in season 2, and she didn't have to compete in a Dragula competition, and most of the other contestants had competed in a Dragula competition. And so Priscilla stated that, she has forgiven. I mean, Dollya stated that she's forgiven Priscilla about making that comment because she knew the comment wasn't about her and it was about something that Priscilla was dealing with. So I really love that moment. And then we learned that Priscilla asked Louisiana to be her drag mother. And that's so cool that this competition has created a new drag dynasty. And so that's really cool that Priscilla can learn so much from Louisiana, and reverse, Louisiana can learn a lot from Priscilla, because I love the way Priscilla paints. Priscilla actually painted her face the way that she had it in the promo look. But she didn't do the cigarette eyebrows, which I thought would have been really cool. But I loved the cigarette eyebrows. Like, that was probably one of the coolest looks ever in Dragula makeup history. Like, just very iconic. And then Landon gave good advice to drag kings. Landon stated that for drag kings who were assigned female at birth, whatever success you have had as a female, to apply that to your drag, to apply that to the stage, and really kind of like help that to create new successes as a drag king. And I thought that was a great point, because that can be applied to kind of like other areas as well. Fortunately, I've had kind of like a few successes as a writer, and I always feel kind of like sometimes I experience writer's block. And so sometimes I really kind of like kick myself because I want to be further in my writing career. But I can, you know, feel blessed and thankful for what I have experienced as a writer, but then also to take that and remind myself with every project that I do that I am successful. I have been successful, and I will continue to be successful. So I really needed to hear that. There were a lot of great moments within this particular episode, and that have really helped me as an artist. So I really love that. Then the Boulet brothers asked all of the top three contestants if they thought that they were going to win the crown, and they all said yes, of course, as they should have. But then to the eliminated queens and asked who the eliminated queens thought would be top, who would actually take home the crown. So 4 people said that Priscilla would win. 4 people said that Landon would win. And no one thought that Dollya would win. And I thought it was kind of shady that Maddelynn, who is Dahlia's grandmother, didn't even vote for Dollya. And I'm like, man, like, I don't get Madelyn's and Dahlia's relationship. But if I was in a drag family, I would hope that my drag family would stick up for me, vote for me in situations like this. So I don't get their relationship at all. And so Landon thanked everyone for voting for him. And a few people stated that they wanted Landon to win because like it would make history if a drag king won a drag competition, because it has not happened before. And Landon, and like they stated that kind of like Landon was born female, and so Landon stated that he doesn't deserve to win because he is a drag king or was assigned female at birth, but he should win based off of what he has brought to the competition and how he presents himself on stage when he performs. And I have seen Landon perform twice in person. I will see Landon perform at the Boulet Brothers Halloween show, which I'm really excited about. And Landon is a incredible drag king. Just like I saw my first drag king performance like maybe 12 or 13 years ago, and it was kind of like a very pedestrian drag king show. Like the drag kings basically put on clothing that they purchased from like, I don't know, H&M, and they just kind of like painted beards on their face. Landon makes maybe 90% of what you see him wear on his body. He's like, somebody even told me that he spray paints his bodysuits, which is incredible because like you have to know kind of like human anatomy. Because I mean, even though kind of like the suits aren't necessarily realistic looking, but the way that he paints the suits are very realistic in terms of how a muscular male body would look, and so that's incredible. The amount of detail that he puts into his drag um, is on the levels of all of the winning drag race queens. And so I'm Team Landon. I think that Landon deserves to win, even though this is a great top three. I could see any of them winning, but I hope that Landon wins it. So this comes to the end of the video. Let me know who you're rooting for. Are you Team Landon, Team Priscilla, or Team Dollya? And if you thought it was shady that Maddelynn didn't vote for her granddaughter, I can't wait for the finale of Dragula. I can't wait to see the looks that I can't wait to see what Landon brings to the finale. Um, I wish I wish their finale was live like Drag Race. Um, I fingers crossed that I go to the Drag Race finale next year. But it would be cool to see the Dragula finale live before a theater audience because they shoot at the Globe Theater, which is also where the Boulet Halloween party will be located as well. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and until next time, besos.